So what we're going to start with is kind of a blue with some white on it. Just mix a little bit of blue and white. You can just use a light blue, or you can use a straight blue and add some white to it. I'm just going to use a little bit of blue and put some white just to keep it from being too, we don't want it to be totally flat and be uninteresting. We went on Tuesday and saw our son's art exhibit, and wow, he turned into a good artist. If I do say so. Yeah, he had amazing paintings up there, so it was fun to walk through and look at them and see him up in the gallery. He has other shows scheduled too, but he said some of them got postponed because of COVID. Has a lot of work that he's done. So we're just gonna slap it on here, bring it pretty much over to the edge like this. That'll be easier. And I'm just laying down blue, and then I'm going to go add some white to it. Now, if you want to, I'm going to add a little turquoise or green or something like that to this, just to keep the background from being boring. That's all. And so then that part's done. So when you got your background done, let's do some brown and some black and some white. And we're going to make you can see how the background is down here. It's a little bit darker up toward the top where the pumpkin's going to be. There's a little bit of a shadow, and gets a little bit lighter as it comes forward. Just take your brush and put some black and some brown on it, and just take it across as straight as you can. Don't worry about it, and don't worry if the blue blends with it a little bit at this point.
Black and brown.
Black and brown, and then you can add some white to streak it in. Main thing is to get the canvas covered up. Put some white on the bottom to kind of lighten it up, and then fade it up into the darker as you go up. You might have to do a couple of layers on here. Once your blue gets pretty dry, you can take a piece of paper and lay it on here right above where your porch is. And if you go this way like this and paint across the bottom of the paper down onto your brown and stuff, it'll give you a fairly straight line. This is a pretty easy way to get a straight line.
Yeah, I got that old one.
You can just use plain old copy paper. We're going to do the same thing when we do the sides in a minute. Now at this point, it'd probably be a good idea to dry it off real quick, just so we can move on. Mix a little bit of brown into some white, so you get a light brown color. And we're just going to come down on either side about an inch, maybe a little wider than an inch. Just come down like this, and we'll do the same thing with the paper, and it's going to come all the way down to the bottom. what I'm going to do is turn my painting upside down and do the other side. That's much easier for me as a lefty to do that. I'm going to just turn it, so don't get confused. I just turned it upside down. It's easier for me to do the straight line when I'm not at a weird left-handed angle. So what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to paint the pumpkin kind of a light brown color. And that way, that gives us kind of built-in shading, and we just have to, you know, kind of blend it and stuff. We've already got this stuff. What we're going to do is, we're not going to worry about all the detail on him. We're just going to get the shape in. So we don't want to put the pumpkin right in the middle. Because we have to leave room for the kitty and the tail. So we want to put the pumpkin over a little, and he should go up to about 2 inches from the top of the canvas. So you could start him up here, about like this. Well, that's not quite 2 inches, 1.5 inches, something like that. Make a little bump for he has that's the back part behind the stem. And then it goes down like this where the stem is, okay? Goes like that. So it's kind of like a rounded triangle. And then what I like to do is actually start in the front center, because that'll be kind of our main. So sort of aim for the center. It doesn't have to be right in the center, but center-ish. You've got this first little bump, and then you'll do another one right here. Now make sure when you get down here to the bottom that you don't make it flat on the bottom. It has to have little bumpy edges down there. And then we do another one that comes out like this. And he doesn't have to be totally even. Pumpkins are hardly ever perfectly shaped. So it's kind of like looking for the perfect Christmas tree. And it goes like that. And then you just go do the same thing on the other side. So you're going up from that little center point there, where the stem is going to be, right there. And then you come up like this, do that side. And then a little bit more on this. So this is just blocking in. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just getting our basic pumpkin shape in. And I'm going to make him go out a little bit further on this side. It can be a little bit rounder, so you can go out here like this. And I also think I'm going to make him go down a little bit further. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. So let's do this, 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 and that. So have orange and yellow on your plate. So see, I have orange and yellow. And I still have white on my plate. And then we're going to start putting in highlights. So we'll start up here where this part is. Okay. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. I'm going to go over this about 3 times, so adding shading and stuff in. So put your brush in your lighter colors, and we're going to start your lighter orange and yellow, and we're going to start doing this and doing the sections of the pumpkin. So first section is over here on the right hand side. We want to have light on that side a little bit. But don't bring the light all the way down to the bottom, because the bottom is going to stay a little bit darker because it's in shadow. So I'm going to do that and add a little more of this to it. So you just want to kind of block in your little sections. So then what you do is you go to the next section, and you'll start, it'll be a little bit darker right here. Bring it down, and then you just blend it back into the orange that you've got on there already. So blend it in. And your sections don't have to be totally regular either. Basically what we're doing is just streaking in some shadows here to make the little sections stand out. Don't worry if it blends with the orange paint that you already have down there, that's okay. We're just adding some more to it. Okay, there's that one. This is a place where you can put 2 different colors on your brush at the same time. You can put a darker color on one side and a lighter color on the other side, so that when you stroke it, you get automatic shading in there. So I'm doing kind of the lighter yellow or lighter orange and the darker orange. So if I do that, then I get this, and all I have to do is blend it. Letting your brush strokes show is a good thing, so don't worry about smoothing them all out. So if you're using a flat brush, you should be interchanging between using it sideways or flat, depending on whether you're up near the edge of a section or not, because the edge of the section will be skinnier. So I'm going to put in a little bit of brown down here for shadow on the underside. And then I'll come back in with some more orange. Add some black to your brown, make it really dark, and then you're just going to put the stem it'll start right here where the things all meet, the sections all meet, And then the stem is going to come up. Now you can make your stem whatever shape you want, but I just made mine a little bit twisty, so I just twisted it a little bit like that. So there's the stem, and what you do is take a little bit of brown and white and just go in here like this. Whoops, I didn't get enough on there. And just go in there and give it a little bit of shading, texture, detail, whatever. Okay, so that's that part. You do not have to make your pumpkin face look exactly like mine. You can do whatever shape you want to do it. I would start in the middle and go up like this to a point, and then you can make it flat on the bottom, or you can make it look like he's smiling. Give him smiley eyes a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect, because jack-o'-lanterns rarely are. Then a little triangle nose. And then I started with the center part of the mouth first. So you make a little smile area there, and then make it come down. And he has a tooth, and make it come up for the rest of his smile. And then over here you make the other tooth. And make it go up. And then down here you have a tooth in the middle. And you just go from the corner up here down to this tooth. Same thing over here. There. And then you fill in the mouth. I think I'm going to make his nose up a little higher. I'm not making the whole nose up, I'm just moving the top of it up a little bit. There we go. Then you can fill in the mouth. And we're going to let that dry. Now, should you decide you're not thrilled about the shape of this mouth, you can always adjust it just by adding more black paint to it, to make it a little bigger if you want him to have a slightly wider smile or something. So to do the little kitty cat, I made mine on purpose. I made his ears kind of go sideways because I wanted him to look like he was a little bit annoyed, so when they lay their ears back, it's almost flat. You can, of course, make his ears go straight up if you want to. That's fine. We're going to paint him in solid black and then come back and add some white and gray to him too, and his eyes and stuff. So kittens, we're to make it easy, we're going to put his chin right here on the pumpkin. It is kind of like almost a triangular shape, a little bit rounded on top, comes around like this, and then down to kind of a pointy chin. I do not profess to be good at painting cats. I haven't spent a lot of time trying to paint them, so. But what you want to do is get his head painted first. So let's get he's got little cheeks right there, and he's kind of peeking over the edge of the pumpkin like this. So you got him a little bit over. And his ears, I think I'm going to make mine go out again, are kind of like triangles, but they start part way down his head like that. And start smaller with them, because you can make them bigger as you need to, but if you make them too big to begin with, it's real hard to back that up since you're using black. I wanted him to kind of look like he had his ears laid back a little bit. So you bring his ears down. His neck comes down like this, right down here under his ear. And you're just going to run him down along the side of the pumpkin so that he kind of disappears behind it where it curves out. Like that. I think I gotta make his face a little straighter here. Yeah, okay. And he's gonna have one pity paw right here. And one paw right here. So you know how when they're kittens, they just jump up from behind things? That's what this is supposed to be like. And then his tail is down here. He's standing on his hind legs, so his tail is not on the floor. Won't make his tail super long because he's a kitten and their tails aren't too long. We're going to go back to the pumpkin and glaze in a little more orange and yellow. So make your lighter orange if you have a lighter orange. If you don't, then add a little bit of white to it. Make it real watery, like milk. And then we're going to glaze it onto the pumpkin to bring out a few more highlights. If your color's a little bit off, which mine is, you can just wet your brush and just go over the edge like this, and that'll blend it in with your color that's underneath. Just don't put any more paint on your brush, just wet it. Even around here in front of the cat. A little bit too, like that. So you can just keep adding different shades of orange in here like this, just very lightly dry brushing it on to just give your pumpkin a little more interest. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just putting different colors of orange and stuff on. Whoops, that was too much. Oh well. Just add some darker orange to it. It'll be fine. There. So if you accidentally get too much of a color, just add some of your other colors on there and blend it in. Okay. Okay. Then you're going to need a skinny brush again. And we're going to make the light on the eyes and the mouth look like it's coming from the reflection's coming from the left. So you want to do white right here on the right hand side. And then that would be over here on the right and like this on the right. I shouldn't have done that down there. So just use a skinny brush with some white paint. I would add a tiny bit of yellow to it. Don't make it totally white, but make it like a super pale yellow. Okay. And you're going to go here, just down the edge. And here. Now the kitty's eyes are going to be yellow. It may not take the first time, so add some white to it because you're going over black. So you want to make it nice and white. They're kind of almond shaped. They're about right here on his face. I'm just going to go like that, and then we're going to come in and we'll finish shaping them with the marking pen in a few minutes. And then take your brush and mix it with some white and black so you have a light gray color. Really light gray. And you're going to outline his ears a little bit like this. We're doing a little bit of gray. We're going to put his nose right here, right under his eyes. Now you could give him a pink nose if you would rather. His nose is a little triangle. I just made him gray because he's kind of just all over black except for his eyes. And then you're going to highlight his paws. Highlight his paws a little bit with the gray. He has his little mouth right here. I'm going to take my Sharpie, and first of all I'm going to clean up these eyes because I kind of messed them up a little bit. So I'm going to give them a sharp edge, and I should not have put yellow on that part right there, so I'm going to cover that up and do this. Okay, so I'm going to reshape his eyes a little bit here. They're too big for one thing. So I'll make them a little bit smaller.